Right. So there are four things which I have told you. What was that? One is about business architecture. Majorly represents you the business individual activities, what business activities an individual is performed. So the general conception is that this is where generally we talk about stakeholders. These people we call it as stakeholders, but general perception in reference to the stakeholder, what normally people will feel is that stakeholder nothing but customer. Am I right? Client.
Yeah.
That's what general belief system what we have. To an extent possible, which is true, not to the full level of extent. Not to the full extent. Why? Because stakeholders are the people who will be involving in the project, either directly or indirectly. Those people are called as stakeholders. These stakeholders can be a business owner. Stakeholders can be project sponsors. It can be architects, solution architects, business architects, all that. Enterprise architects, data architects, all that. Development team means developers who do the coding, right? So user interface design people, testing people, right? So these people are called and considered as stakeholders in any of the application development. Okay. But if you want to manage the stakeholders, basically stakeholder identification we have to do based on the two conditions. If you want to, because let's say, for example, you are a technical person, assume that you are transforming yourself into the business functional area where your responsibility, one of the responsibility, I am saying, one of the responsibility, assume that for you is to manage the stakeholders. Now, if you want to manage your stakeholders, if you have taken the count by considering both external and internal into consideration, the number will be, assume that, roughly I'm just giving you, the number is assume that will be somewhere around 40 to 50. Now, here is my question to you. Is it really possible, being an individual, to manage these people throughout the project? Is it really possible?
No,
Don't you think this is difficult?
Yes.
True or not, right?
Yeah.
This is where generally we need to know about stakeholder identification. Understood? Clear, Aishwarya, right? Stakeholder identification we have to do, because when we want to manage the stakeholders, as far as the business activities, as a part of business architecture, when we are trying to understand about the business activities of the individuals, first of all, you must be knowing about whose role is important, whose role is not important, right? Not so important, right? So we have to categorize based on that, to whom we have to focus on day-to-day activities, to whom we have to put less focus. That sort of understanding is essentially required. This is where generally the stakeholder identification come into picture. Stakeholder identification, if you want to categorize, the stakeholder identification, this will be based on two things. One is power, second is interest. These are the two areas we will be taken into consideration to perform stakeholder identification. Now, here is a question to you. Why I have taken power and interest into consideration? What was the reason behind that? If I want to do stakeholder identification, as far as the classification of stakeholders is concerned, so why I consider power and interest into consideration? Why I have taken these two? What was the reason behind this?
My understanding is power means like what is the designation kind of thing, like as we mentioned before, like stakeholder could be product owner as well as developer also, but obviously the weightage of a product owner is much more as compared to a developer, like point of view, suggestions. So I think here power means this thing, I guess.
Power leads to decision making. Power leads to
decision making.
Decision making means why we have taken power into consideration, because power leads to decision making. Understood? Clear to you? Understood?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Power leads to decision making. Right? So power leads to decision making means whatever the decisions making and all everything we are doing, right? So whatever the decision making are we going to perform, whatever the decision making we are going to do, all these things will be considered as a power, right? So there are two things. Why we have taken power? Because power we have taken because these people have a decision making authority. Am I right? Yes or no?
Okay.
Second, I have taken interest into consideration. Why I have taken interest? What was the reason behind it?
No idea on this.
Power leads to decision making means people, whoever is in the level of decision making, you need to consider these people into consideration. Agreed? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Point number one. Point number two, you need to consider the classification of stakeholders based on interest as well. Why interest? Because interest leads to involvement. Involvement means people who are involving in the project. Who will be involving in the project? Being a developer, you will be involving in the project. Am I right? Being a testing team, you are involving in the project. Being a user interface designer, you will be involving in the project. Being a solution architect or an architect of the project, you will be involving in the project. Am I right?
Yeah.
Agreed or not? Right? So,
Yes.
when we are trying to understand about the business activities from the context of business architecture, we need to identify who are our users first. Means who is going to use this application end of the day. Second point, what type of users are they? Are they internal users or external users? Again, this is depends on the kind of application we are developing. If I have told you some applications which is used in-premise application within the organization, something like core banking, payroll management, CRM, right? All that stuff. There will be some external applications like, for example, online banking, online shopping. So it can be travel portal related stuff, right? So these are all external applications where customers will be customers are the people who are end of the day using this application. These people, we call it as business users. Understand, right? So when we are trying to understand about the business architecture in reference to the enterprise architecture as part of business architecture, we should have a detailed understanding about the kind of individual business activities and the processes they follow within the enterprise. Clear to you? Understood? Aishwarya, clear?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the second one is called application architecture. Second one is called application architecture. What application architecture is? Do you write any notes? Do you want me to tell you any notes or do you want me to type here?
Oh, I'm writing it.
Okay, can I explain you then instead of writing? Okay,
sorry, I'm not getting
write
you.
down here. You can note down the points. Okay.
You can note down like important points, like that will be fine.
Okay, I will write here. You can note down. Okay, no problem. Right.
Sure.
What application architecture? Application architecture majorly represents the application that execute the business process as well as supportive IT tools. Understood? Clear or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'll give you an example to this. What is meant by application architecture? Again, financial institution. Or else, for a better understanding, I'll be taking one more example. You know, retail outlets. Something like Walmart, Target, all that, right? So you know about retail shops or retail outlets.
Okay.
being a customer, we know, right? So we usually go to shops, we buy products and we pay the bill and we get products, right? That's how usually we do. Now, being a customer, can you tell me what are all the applications they will use to manage their business? What kind of applications they use? What are all the list of
Okay.
applications they will be using in a retail store?
Okay.
Assume that it's a big one. Don't consider that it's a small retail shop, kirana shop kind of. Assume that it's a retail store, something big on
Like
its side.
online, some Flipkart or Amazon, some like that, right?
Amazon, Flipkart are online stores. Those are not
Yeah.
offline. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we are talking
You
about
can say
offline.
Ratnadeep. Okay, from the context of India, you can say Ratnadeep, right? Or more. Okay, more
Okay.
supermarket, Ratnadeep, right?
Hmm.
These are retail store, right? FMCG
Hmm.
products they sell.
Hmm.
Now, what kind of applications they use and for what purposes?
Okay. Application means that will be online only, right? What they use in their system, right?
Absolutely. What are all they
Okay.
use and for
So
what purpose?
they will have one catalog kind of thing where it will be categorize all the
What
products
was
they
that?
have.
What was that? What does it mean? It's called inventory system.
Yeah, inventory. I was just about to say that
Right.
inventory
Okay.
system. Yeah.
Inventory management system means
Yeah.
managing the products of the products which are available on a particular store will be managed as a part of inventory system. Am I right?
Inventory system.
So
Yeah,
products will be
exactly. And
classified into different varieties, and every product category there will be some category number, etc., etc. Okay, that is one kind of application. This will be used to manage effectiveness in terms of the products whatever are available on the store
yes.
to maintain in long run. Point number one. Next, anything
And
else?
after that, they order related things,
Supply chain. It can be
supply chain
okay, right? Some
and
supply chain
billing.
related application. Okay, next.
Billing.
Sorry,
When they do some billing, that kind of thing could be there.
what does it mean? It's called point of sale system.
Okay.
It's called a billing system. Usually we call it as point of sale,
Point of sale.
POS system, both there, right? Point of sale system. Okay, next.
And maybe customer related one application, customer data.
CRM applications to manage customer effectiveness, addressing and resolving their queries, all that. They may require some CRM application. Am I right? Yes or
Yeah.
no, Aishwarya, right?
Yes. Yes.
Next, anything else apart? Some payroll
Inventory,
management
supply
system
chain.
to manage their employee
Yes.
salaries, etc. All that payroll management system, right? It can be an ERP application also, because to integrate different departments, they may require some ERP application even. It may require. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. So just on a word sake, whenever we discussed, almost we came to know somewhere around 6 to 7 applications we got. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Here
Yes.
is my question to you. All these applications were interconnected or these applications were standalone kind of?
Few are connected, few are connected. I mean, I think yes, all are connected.
Right. Right. All these are interconnected.
Connected, yeah.
Am I right or not? Right. So why? Because whatever the business activities are we performing in any of the organization, to manage their business activities and all different applications they will be using within the organization. For example, sales team will be using some sales forecasting applications. Inventory professionals uses some inventory management system.
Yes.
And people who will be on the stores front end and whoever is doing billing or store managers, etc. These people will be
POS.
using point of sale system for billing, and even for report generation also they use POS. HR people may use
Payroll,
management
ERP.
system. Maybe CRM, customer relationship
CRM,
management
yeah.
uses will be used by the customer relationship executives, etc., etc. Am I right or not? Right. So
Yes.
all these people are the part of the retail business or the retail store, right? So whatever the activities they are performing, all these activities are interconnected. Yes or no?
Yes.
Let's say, for
Yes.
example, an inventory professional has not updated the inventory record. What will happen? It won't
So
reflect on
when,
the point of sale.
exactly,
It won't reflect on the point of sale system.
point of
If
sale,
it was
yeah.
not reflected on the point of sale system, a person who wants to do billing can't do any billing there.
Yeah.
He get failed. Why? Because he can't do any billing there. Why? Because there was no product as such is available there. Why? Because due to the
Inventory system is not updated.
inventory system was not. So whatever the business activities people are performing within the organizations, for that they are using different applications, and all
Okay.
these applications are directly or indirectly interconnected, right? Now let's say, for example, you are developing and you are upgrading their point of sale system. When you want to upgrade their point of sale system, are you confining to understand, will you confine to understand this only from the POS perspective? No. You see the dependencies also. Am I right or not?
Yes.
Will you agree or not?
Yes.
This is where generally application architecture come into picture. Application architecture majorly represents the applications that execute the business process as well as supportive IT tools. Whatever the applications we have discussed so far, I can say these are all something like IT tools and applications. Understood? Clear?
Yes.
Is it clear to you, Aishwarya? Right.
Yes. Yes.
Next one is called data architecture. Next one is called data architecture. Data architecture represents the enterprise data elements followed by storage mechanism, next the kind of policies they have to follow to manage the data. At the same time, we must have a clear understanding about the data flows across
All the applications.
Enterprise as well. Understood? Clear?
Yeah.
Understood or not? Right? So
Yeah.
when you're talking about data architecture, what does it mean? How data is being stored, where it is storing, right? So what kind of storage mechanism are we developing? What are the different data elements which are involved in enterprise architecture? At the same time, what are the policies and procedures do we require to follow? Is there any storage mechanism as separate which was there? If not, do we require to develop any storage mechanism or not? So for that, what are the technology do we require for us to develop all these? So that sort of understanding is required. Technology is not. This is something relating to the data. How the data flow happens. For example, a person is doing some billing against to the products what customer has taken. So how this should happen? What is the process flow? First of all, customer will take up a billing person will take all the products. What is that they do after that? First of all, he will
He
what
needs
is
to
that first they do?
update the inventory. Like suppose a
Yes.
product is having around 100 of quantity. If a customer has purchased 10 quantity, then the inventory management should be
In
updated
90.
like 10. Yeah.
It will
Should be
direct 10
updated
and
to
it will
90.
show
Yeah.
as 90. But before
Yeah.
that, if you want to do that, first of all, what is that required? First of all, you need to know about, first of all, products came to the billing counter. First of all, you have to scan the product using the barcode scanner. So whenever you scan the product, automatically product name will be displayed, followed by the unit price. Being a billing person, what they do, they mention the billing, the quantity over there. Whenever they mention the quantity, automatically it will be multiplied and final cost will be appeared on the screen. So final amount, including tax percentage, will be shown final as a final bill, which customer has to pay and get the products. Am I right or not?
Yeah.
So this is a data flow. As far as the billing itself is concerned, I am saying like this, there are lot of data flows which are involving across the enterprise. Clear to you? Understood?
Yes.
Understood or not?
Yes.
Aishwarya, clear?
Yeah.
Next one is called technology architecture. Next one is called technology architecture. Technology architecture represents the, write down, represents the infrastructure including on-premise equipment, are you writing?
Yes.
On-premise equipment for storage, for networking, at the same time hardware, followed by security gateways, etc. Understood? Clear? Right? So what kind of technology are you using? Right? Which technology are you, means what hardware and software are we using? Operating system. Right? So are we using any third-party tools? Right? So what is network? What was the network diagram of the application? Right? So we must be knowing about the storage process or storage architecture. At the same time, security gateway process. For example, a person is paying bill payment through his card or wallet or a cash, right? So their financial details in terms of the card information and all, everything must be secure. And the same time, there must be a gateway process where we have to accept the payments and get this bill done. Understood, Aishwarya? Clear?
Yeah.
Right? So this is where and what generally we call it as technology architecture. So when we trying to understand about enterprise architecture is being confined, is being included with four different things. One is business architecture, which majorly represents the individual business activities in the enterprises. Second, when we talk about application architecture, which majorly represents the application that executes the business process as well as supporting IT tools and all that. At the same time, when we talk about data architecture, which majorly represents the enterprise data elements, storage, mechanism, policies, data flows, etc. across enterprises, all that. At the same time, when we talk about technology architecture, which majorly represents the infrastructure, including on-premise applications, on-premise equipment, networking, computations, hardware, at the same time, security, gateway, right? So all these things are included under technology architecture. Clear to you?
Yeah.
Right. So this is where generally on a high level note, if you try to understand about enterprise architecture, this is what we have to be known with. We have to be good with. Clear to you now? Understood?
Yes, yes.
Right. So this is well, before we are getting into the solution architecture, it's always important for us to understand how different enterprise architecture to solution architecture. So in these grounds, what we have discussed so far about enterprise architecture.
Enterprise architecture,
In this enterprise architecture, business architecture,
application architecture, data
applications,
architecture, and
data, and
technology.
technology. And next week, I'll be taking a case study, and these architectures I will show you on that case study so that you will have a practical understanding over this. Okay. After that,
Okay.
we will be moving towards next level. Is it clear to you? Any questions on this regard? Please go ahead now. Any questions, Aishwarya? Do you have any questions
No,
in this regard? Are you clear?
no, I'm pretty clear. Yeah.
Are you clear, or do you have any questions?
No, I am clear. I don't have any questions.
Okay, right. So we discuss more about this in next week.
Sure. Thank you.
Right then. Good night.
Yeah. Good night. Thanks.